Well, hello there. Welcome to Throw Up Thursday, where you can come barf your problems and leave feeling much better. I'm Dr. JJ Kelly, the punk rock doc, and so many things to go over as the holidays approach. I'm going to let Olivia in here, one of our.
She will be joining me for, maybe, how's the speaker going here?
Better? Can you hear me better? Hi.
Yeah. Hi. How are you?
All right. Sorry, I had a speaker plugged in there.
No worries.
So, how are you?
I'm good. It's the first night of Hanukkah.
Yes, it
Exciting. So I have
is.
some Hanukkah makeup on with the white and blue.
Well, happy Hanukkah to you. while we're in the congratulating Olivia department, by the way. Oh my gosh, your teaching on the coaching call this week was dope. It was so good, dude.
Thanks.
You were
Thank
clearly
you.
having a good time too.
Mm-hmm.
Like, nice work.
I loved it. It was so fun.
I could tell.
I had
Awesome.
I think more fun with it than anybody else did, just showing the animations, because I was like getting them the fucking washing machine.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Yes, Megan agrees. Yes, you were awesome. The enthusiasm is catching, you know? And when you like what you're doing, let me turn this light up. That backlighting's not awesome. And when you like what you're doing like that, is, dude, it's easier for people to learn.
Definitely. I always love the teachers who, like, you could tell were so excited about what they were teaching and loved it.
Totally. Well,
as I was doing it, I was like, yeah, I gotta teach. I already knew that, but it was like, this is what I'm made for. Like,
dude,
I just want everyone to get excited about the things that I love.
Yes. Yeah. And you know, what is not exciting about helping people make their lives better? Like, forever. You see why I'm so jacked all the time. Like, I mean, I was sitting there like, oh my God, I'm so proud of her. Like, I tried not to cry. I mean, it was great. Good for you.
I've been like glowing all week, just really proud and happy, and like just a loving group to share that with, and you know, it was so good.
Yes, it was. Did you hear Astrid wants to put your teaching on our ads?
Oh, sick. Awesome.
Yeah,
I didn't hear that.
Oh, I thought she contacted you like right after we did filming the other day.
No, she had texted me to ask for some clips for this and said that to congratulate me on my teaching.
Oh,
I've gotten some cute texts from the docs. It really warms my heart.
Oh, that is so sweet. I love it. Love it. Good for you. Yeah.
The season for giving.
Yes.
For loving each other.
Yeah. I couldn't believe, like, I've been waiting 2 days now to tell you. I was like, right after I almost called you and I was like, no, I'll save it for Thursday. To tell everybody how awesome you are.
Yeah, it was so good.
Good for you. Thanks. All right, so what are we doing today, Miss?
All right, so I have a couple questions. I have. Oh God, I'm always asking these questions.
I know. I figured you had some questions.
If I just didn't, I was like, I don't know. What are we doing today?
Dude, I'd be like, oh, you're killing me, Smalls. Dude, especially like, I'm just like racing all the way up to the minute that I do this. And then like, if you were to throw a curveball like that, I'd be like, bye. Nice seeing you for Throw Up Thursday. I just can't. So thank you.
Yes, I do have questions. So the first one is kind of a tack on to what we were talking about last week with just the grieving. So I've been doing and catching myself, but the nostalgic, like looking into past memories and photos and messages and getting kind of into that, or like looking into that rabbit hole. What is that about with grieving? Like, because it's not even just stuff with my dad. It's like anything that I've ever experienced, I want to like look into.
I don't know. Is everyone like that? I think everyone has bouts like that. It's just sort of like those emo moments, right? Where you like want to go dark. And you know as well as I do that like sometimes it can go too far.
Mm-hmm.
But you know, sometimes if I'm like sitting by a fire or something and I'm looking at old photos and old notes and stuff, seeing the
Mm-hmm.
penmanship of the person who's gone is
Mm-hmm.
kind of touching. And even if you're crying, sometimes it's not self-harming.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes it's just lovely to remember the person, and other times it's like, whoa, fucking dark, man. And it's up to each individual to assess that and to make decisions based on it. But you know as well as I do that you can even know you're going dark and you just end up staying with it.
Yeah.
Why do we do that is the real question.
Yeah. I don't know. There's always a point that I can tell where it starts off as, you know, like, okay, let me revisit some things. And then there's a line in which I'm like, okay, now this is getting gross. But it's much more difficult to like pull myself out of once you're like in. I mean, like you still have the choice and the ability to do it, but it's like this quicksandy kind of thing because it can turn gross so quick.
Yeah, I don't actually think it's any different than any other willfulness.
Mm-hmm.
I think there is that choice point of which way to go, and we give ourselves permission. And part of the giving ourselves permission is the very sophisticated bullshit of, well, it is grieving. Like grieving is different than other things. That's the best thing, right? Like the best lie has 80% truth. Like, yeah, grieving is different than other shit. However, it's this we're talking about is willfulness.
Yeah.
Getting in your own way, making a choice that you consciously know is not in your wise mind, in your best interest, matches your values. But then, you know, we're like, oh, well, it doesn't totally violate my values. You know what I mean? Like, we play all
is
these
it against
games.
my values to, like, remember my dad?
Right, right. This is one of those things where I challenge somebody and then they make me out to be the asshole, right?
Grief is like this thing where you see, it's like you feel like you have this, like, past that you just get to be like, I get to act however I want because, like, this is sad.
Yes!
Effectively. And everyone's uncomfortable with it in the first place, so nobody's gonna...
Right.
Like, people don't challenge you with it.
Right.
It's like this huge monster.
Yep. And that attitude, meaning, well, attitude, but also, like, that tone that, like, I'm gonna, I know you are, but what am I? Like, that tone is... like that Pee Wee Herman thing is a cue that you are in willful land.
Yeah.
But the thing is, we have no interest in telling ourselves the truth in those moments. That's really what it is with grieving, is we just decide. And that is still willfulness, but it's hardcore willfulness. It is a different flavor. It's just, come on.
Yeah.
So you know, what's fun, you know, this mentorship that I'm in with Marianne Williamson, everybody's sort of like grieving. It's everybody's talking about it.
Mm-hmm.
And on deep levels too. So I just think it's out there right now. End of the year, you know, winter time, COVID.
Yeah.
All of it. So
it's always a hard season for it. I mean, like Christmas brings like the holidays, winter holidays, the family.
Mm-hmm.
There's so much like narrative about like family togetherness, and you know, there's all these expectations about like the happiest time of the year. And so if you don't feel that happiness, you're like, am I broken?
Right. Right. Do I hate my family?
Yeah. Am I just like a soulless person?
No, everybody's so, it's so funny to me this year. Like, I can't be around my family. Like, come on.
It's stressful anyway. Like,
yeah.
Like,
I mean, I don't want to invalidate. That sucks. It does suck. It's just that, you know, all these years of doing this work, you know, one of the most stressful times for people collectively is this pre-Christmas, pre-holidays.
Yeah.
I'm going to see my family that I don't see that often stress. So I don't know. Can we just like accept it for what it is and not fight with reality and move through it as smoothly as we can, just trying not to make it worse. That might be as good as it gets right now.
Yeah.
So you got any non-grieving questions?
Yes, I do. I just had that one because I wanted to ask it last week and then we didn't get to
Okay,
it.
great.
Okay, so I have one from Mal.
Lovely.
So they asked about balancing work from their physical job fatigue with being active and resting during off days. So like balancing working out, but also feeling like physically tired from their job and being mindful about exercise and like how to rest.
Oh yeah. Speaking of willfulness, it's my day off. I'm going to get zero physical activity because I have a physical job. Yeah. The very easy answer to that is pull back the exercise and still do it. Take a walk. Take a short walk so that that's the litmus test for, are you hanging out and hiding out and being willful? I bet Mal knew the answer to that one before she was done writing the question. I wish they were on this call.
Yeah.
So I could just a little bit, because that's funny. That's funny. Because there it is again, right? Very physical job. Legit tired. So there's a whole lot of truth in that. But you still got a gut check and be real with yourself about the feeling during the decision making, the tone, the bullshit potential. And slay through that shit.
Yeah. It's always tricky when there are some elements of it that like, you know, like they're true. And so you also take those into account. Like you do need to rest because you're tired from your job.
Yeah.
And we're also skilled at just like totally
bullshitting. Yes. And the more sophisticated you get in your emotional intelligence, the more sophisticated your defense structure gets as well. However, I don't know, you're progressing at this, it's the same all the time. Bullshit is bullshit at whatever level you're at.
And you can always taste it when it's coming out.
I think so. I think we know whether we say we know or not.
Yeah.
And you guys definitely do. So
I love watching us in our calls when we're talking and someone's bullshitting, and you can see in their face when they're like they're saying it, but they're like, no.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
No,
it's
no.
like dirt in their mouth. Yes. And you can see it on their face. I love that you said that, because I do think all you guys can see it, including the speaker. And we all do it. So.
And it's totally okay. Sometimes you don't realize that you're doing it until you speak it out. And then as long as you go, oh, okay, actually, like,
yes,
that was bullshit.
Yes.
And get to the truth. It's like no need to feel shame over spouting bullshit when you catch it. Totally.
I was just having that kind of conversation with a bunch of artists today, that eating your shit sandwich with dignity. Just call yourself out, or just apologize, or just be like, wait, I don't even know what I'm saying right now. Like, who cares? I think it's an actual, there's a demonstration of resilience, emotional intelligence, as well as like ego strength to do that. It's not weak to do that. It's strong.
Definitely. I remember when I was first getting over my whole like California too cool for school thing, and I would catch myself saying something that just like was not true at all. Like being like, oh yeah, I know that band, and then be like, actually I don't know why I said that. Like, I don't know that band.
It's so fun.
It's really funny.
Yeah.
And it's empowering to be like, oh, I don't even have to be embarrassed. If like normally I would lie about something stupid, and then I would go back to my room and be like, I'm a freak. Right.
Which is just more fucking narcy. Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
Like, just get over it.
Yeah.
And when I watch you guys do that now, it's wonderful. And when you do that in front of other people who haven't had the training that you have, you're modeling for them how to have that kind of strong grounding and dignified apologizing.
Yeah.
That makes you instant leaders in the world. Congrats. Congrats, all of you guys on this call. All right, what else we got?
Okay, I got one. So this is a question from a friend. So, how to deal with a family member in your life who like consistently gives you upsetting information at like bad times. So like my friend is living with their mom and they like will wake up and then hear some like bad news about like a family member being sick, and it's consistently happening. They've talked to them about it, and their mom just like isn't getting it.
Okay, well, at the risk of sounding obvious, I hope that your friend is saying this is not the right time for that in the moment, and taking responsibility for setting those boundaries instead of just, bitching. I'm all for bitching, don't get me wrong. It's just, that's not going to get this person anywhere. If they actually want to attempt to make an impact with this kind of thing, then the general advice is people respond to consequences. So even bumping up that statement, the canned, ready to go statement, to something like, I'm not going to have my coffee with you in the morning if you're going to dump all the bad news you've heard on me first thing in the morning. I would do a deer, describe the situation. So I'm finding that you dump a whole bunch of bad news on me first thing in the morning, most mornings. Then express your feelings or opinions. I don't like that. It pisses me off. My brain's not even on, for fuck's sake. And then the actual ask or say, no, please do not do that anymore, which I assume has happened in some form or another. Please do not do that anymore. And then the reinforce is describing to them what's going to happen if they don't, in a non-threatening way, by the way. You could say the canned one and be like, I'd appreciate that. However, if it's happened a bunch of times, I'd bump that one up too and be like, because I'm not going to have breakfast with you anymore if this is how this is going to go. And if the person's like just compulsively, which it kind of sounds like it's just like, wah, getting up and leaving, having a safe word with your mom, or like, hey, when I go like this, stop saying what you're saying. Can we agree on that? You can do some of that work, like strike while the iron's cold and set up a foundation. Go talk to your mom and be like, this has been bothering me for a while. I'm guessing it's going to happen again. So this is how this is going to go next time. Like, I'm not going to even say a word. I'm going to get up and leave your presence every time you do that. If you're going to do the pre-planning, you can go more hardcore in the moment, but don't go hardcore in the moment if you haven't done the pre-plan. Because that can escalate things and it makes it less effective. You have to do the foundational work. And a lot of times people are afraid to do the hardcore stuff in the moment, even if they've done the planning, which means then they're flaking on what they said they were going to do. And now they're not going to be taken seriously because they make threats they don't follow through on. Don't do that, as Allie would say. You did a couple of those when you were teaching too. I saw Allie smiling when you were, it's difficult, right? It's hard difficult to not say no.
In the DBT workbook, it's written like that. Like, don't do that, don't do this. So my notes, I was writing that and I was like,
Yeah. Try working almost 20 years with teenagers and say don't and see how that lands.
I remember how that landed.
Yeah.
Not well.
That's why humor shaming is so much more effective because it has that startling, disarming quality to it. And I still say things like, knock it off. Like, that's just I don't know, it's that edge, that realness to it is still better than don't do this procedurally, don't do this. The book says don't do this. Like, what? We don't care about that.
Yeah.
Okay. Keep going.
Okay.
Did I answer that one?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
Yeah. It's hard when
the more specific, the better.
Yeah.
You're sitting there editing, huh? Right. If the person is on the call, feel free to follow up in the comments.
That's all the questions that I had written down.
Okay.
But
is anything itching for you? No pressure, dude. We can end at 22.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter.
I'm thinking I don't think so.
All right. Wow. Lovely. Then we'll end. Next week is that what do we got here? Let me look at a calendar. Because one of our Thursdays, next week's normal, the 17th. Then we'll talk about whether we're going to do Christmas Eve or not. That might be pushing it, but you and I will talk about it later. So there is there's something in the questions.
Oh, perfect.
Uh-oh. How do you deal with a 3-week spiral of lethargic feeling? What? You motivated, not taking care of business? Can you read that too?
I can't read it. I don't see it.
Oh no! How do you deal with a 3-week spiral of lethargic feeling? Oh, that's maybe wanting to say unmotivated and not taking care of your body, maybe is what that says.
Maybe.
In general, well, in the spirit of willfulness that we've been talking about this entire time, if you are aware enough to know that you are making choices that go against your values and against just your wishes, there's not a whole lot I can tell you to do. You already know. So make better choices is the easy answer. However, you want to get at the feeling that is underneath the action or the inaction in this case. So lethargy, though it is a physical feeling, I wouldn't let that one go straight up as an emotion. I mean, it probably is in the camp of emotion that I'm thinking of, but I would go digging because people usually stop there. And my guess is that that kind of paralysis really usually happens from two big players, fear or anger. I'm overwhelmed. I don't know where to start, so I don't. And then there's like a anxiety hiding out. And this is, I'm getting the pissed off from this question. I think that there is something, again, avoidance is more in the fear camp, but there might be a fuck you underneath. And sometimes, punishing ourselves is a way that we try to control our anger. So not exercising when you know that you need to exercise, that can be self-harming. If someone's telling this person to do it, then there's probably a fuck you underneath. Yeah, right. Yep. Yeah. I mean, damn, there's no quicker way to get me to not want to do something than tell me I have to.
I can hardcore relate to that.
Yeah. Who can't? Anyone with a strength of will and a but I can't stop. Now that is a worry thought. That is merely a thought. It is not a fact. I can't stop is some bullshit that we tell ourselves. You actually can. You just don't wanna. What will help move you forward is identifying and validating the emotion. Just say the emotion. If you're pissed off, just say, I'm pissed off. Now, and that's okay. You can add, and that's okay, just for like extra validation, because it is okay. And then what do I want to do about it? I find that for exercise specifically, if I've been on a break of any kind, I want to, like, let's say it's a 3-week break or something like outrageous. I want to go back to this where I was 3 weeks ago. Like, if you're running 5 miles and that's what you're used to, and then you're like having this like lethargy dip, and 3 weeks later, you want to run again, don't run 5 miles, run a half a mile. Yeah. If everybody brought the bar down right now in this COVID nightmare and expected less from themselves, they would be getting to where they want to go more easily. Lower the expectations so that it's only a little bit difficult to go from inactivity to activity. The hardest step to go from nothing to something is something that is infinitely difficult. So make it as small as you can and then praise yourself for doing it. Yeah. Don't do the thing like, oh, I should have done this fucking, don't do that. Just be like, yay me. That was the hardest step right there, going from nothing to something. And don't believe every friggin' worry thought you have. I can't do it. I can't. Yeah, you can. Yes, you can. You don't want to, or you're overwhelmed. You're pissed off, whatever. You're smarter than that. Dude, be honest with yourself. Yeah, it is hard. You can do hard things. P.S. You fighting with the reality of this situation is what's making it so goddamn hard. It ain't that hard to stand up in whatever clothes you're in and go walk around the block. That counts, by the way. You're probably making it hard by having the bar be way the fuck up here. And you're like, no, I can't. What are you laughing at? Because
you've said this to me so many times, so it's just funny to watch it and be like, I'm getting the feeling as if you're yelling like at me, and I'm like, it's not me to
stop beating up on my friend.
It's
everything I'm saying is loving. I mean it lovingly.
It's all like, it's also a good way to do opposite action of just of activating yourself. And we talk about how our feelings are not who we are, they're just what we are experiencing. So if you're feeling tired and lethargic, that's what you're feeling, but that's not who you are. So that means that you still have the power, even though it's really hard, to get up and just go for a walk. And it's important, especially when you're having like that overwhelm and when you're coming out of a long period of not doing the work in the same way that you were. You're cleaning up a mess, but like as you would when you're cleaning up your room, you just start like one piece at a time and know that the room will get clean if you keep cleaning, but you're not going to be able to clean it all at once. And it's really like scary and overwhelming and stressful when you see this huge mess and you're like, I have to do all of these things. Yeah. That's going to make it even harder to clean. Just like set small, manageable goals and work your way up. Yeah.
Yes. And ask for help. If you have somebody in your pod, go walk with them. I don't like to do that when I'm coming out of something like that. I like to do it myself, but that's not necessarily your values. And it doesn't have to be. Pick whatever's up to you. But I'm guessing that there's probably too high of an expectation and not enough validation of pissed off. Yeah, it's overwhelming as fuck just to stop watching Netflix and yeah, I'm not buying overwhelm there. I think I'm getting, just from the text, I'm getting a like dig heels in. There all these follow-ups, which I appreciate, by the way. I think you're doing a good job. And I don't know how you're feeling on the receiving end of this. But there's a but. When I get a lot of yeah buts from somebody, I'm like, yeah, well, fuck my ideas then. You come up with them. Because to then I have to out passive them.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's an active passivity going on here, passive resistance. And it's a lot that usually at the end of the day is an I don't want to.
Mm-hmm.
And not ultimately I don't want to. She's saying she wants to,
Mm-hmm.
but you want somebody to do it for you. You're grown. Ain't nobody going to do it for you. Plus, it's super dependent to wait for someone to rescue you on this. Go ask for help. I'm having a hard time. I mean, you're doing it now. You're asking for help. So that's awesome. That
Mm-hmm.
is one of those bite-sized pieces in the right direction. It's just I'm not at your house to go, hey, let's go for a walk.
Mm-hmm.
Like, ask someone. Can we say the name of this person?
This is Jess.
What?
My friend Jess.
Jess. Okay. Ask somebody to take a walk with you. I don't actually think you need that. I think you can do this. And if you make the celebration after you do it, if you make it something awesome, that will make it a little less hard. Come on. But address you're pissed off, because I think there's probably something legit in there.
Mm-hmm.
If you're pissed off about something else and then you're like, couching it out, that's more pissed off than that's more pissed off than fear, I think.
Yeah.
And you probably are more comfortable with calling it overwhelm because you don't want to be an angry person. California, like you're not an angry person, you're just pissed at COVID. Yeah and our freedoms being taken away. The thing is, though, it ain't COVID keeping you from walking around the block. You can say that it is, which the best lies have 80% truth, is how we started this conversation. We have to get right at that cutting edge of the stories that we tell ourselves, and whether they're bullshit or not. And this is sophisticated too. This is not your everyday kindergarten level bullshit and defenses here. So bravo to that, Jess. The way you're getting in your own way is quite sophisticated. Good job. But mostly this shit is simple. And when we make it complicated, that's a cue that the bullshit has begun. So thank you, Olivia, too.
Put that on my resume.
It's on mine. I consider bullshit a life skill. You want to be able to do that. You just want to know when you're doing it so you don't believe your own. Yeah. You save that shit for the bosses, the parents, the professors. Like, sometimes you need it to get by. The problem is when you buy your own bullshit. Yeah. Then that causes real serious problems. So, gut check for Jess. Follow up. We'd love to hear how this one turns out later. And once again, good job with the teaching, Olivia. It's always nice to be here with you, too. I have a good time.
Me too.
All right.
All right.
So, see you next week.
Everyone.
Bye.
Bye.